If you want to build a business that makes you 1 million a month, then this video is going to be for you. The reason why most people never reach that level, it's not because they cannot generate ideas or they lack ideas. It's not because they don't have enough capital for themselves. However, the real reason is they don't think like a real entrepreneur. They jump from business to business. They get stuck in survival mode in the business. And worst of all, they always keep looking for the next easy way to make money in their business. But the truth, if you don't build the right foundation in your business, no opportunity will work for you. So, in this video, I'll be breaking down 15 lessons that I personally learned in building my own business that I wish someone told me earlier when I was starting out, on how to build a real business that could help you generate ₱1 million a month without you running like a headless chicken in running a business. So this is not a theory video because I'm gonna show you exactly what works, what does not work, and most importantly, how you can start applying these lessons today after watching the video. So whether you're just starting out or you've been in a business for a while now, but you're having a hard time to scale it up, then I assure you that this video is going to open your eyes. I'll also show you the biggest mistakes that most beginners make, which I personally experienced as well when I was starting out. And the reason why most startup entrepreneurs never hit ₱1 million a month in revenue, so you can avoid falling in these traps and get a chance to cut out my mistakes so that you can fast track your own progress. So stick around until the end of this video because I promise you, this will help you change the way you see in your business forever. Let's dive in. Now let's start with lesson number 1, which is becoming the person who you want to become. You have to become the person who is worthy of earning ₱1 million a month. Because I want to tell you, a lot of people, they start doing business and they start thinking about making money. If you're somebody, you're watching this video right now and you're just thinking about making money, you are in the wrong place and you should not be here. Because what I'm going to share with you more in this video later down the lessons is that how you can generate results for your clients, for your customers, so that people will love you and they will always keep coming back to you, and that's how you make a lot of money. Now, I want to share with you, I've read this from Jim Rohn. He shared to us that success is actually something you attract by becoming the person who you are. Because your business will just grow as much as you grow. And that is why money, this is just a byproduct, meaning it's a result of what you give to people, a byproduct of your discipline, your habits, and the value that you give to the marketplace. Meaning, if you don't provide enough value to the market, there is no way you'll be able to get a lot of money or make a lot of money in the business. So think about your daily living. What do you do? What are your habits? What's your discipline? And what's the value you create to get paid based on what you give to people? More than that, I wanted to develop an abundance mindset. What does it mean to have an abundance mindset? When you start to purchase things, instead of saying yourself that you cannot afford it, start thinking, how can I afford it? Because the moment you tell yourself you cannot afford it, that's the moment your brain stops working and you will not find a way on how to actually get it. Now, if you start thinking how you can afford it, your brain starts working on getting things done, on finding ways on how you can actually get it. Because I tell you, if you want something, you do whatever it takes to get that single thing. Now, in relation to that, I want to tell you that your current habits is directly correlated to your future. And that is why your environment is everything to you. Pansin mo ba? If ang mga kasama mo palagi, they're just talking about other people, they're always talking about chika, what's gonna happen is you also would love to talk about other people later on, even if you tell yourself that you're not like that. If you're gonna be around people who loves to drink, later down the line, you're gonna become the next person who will love to drink. But how about if your circle is always talking about ideas, always talking about creativity, making money, success, helping a lot of people? Don't you think you're gonna become the next successful person? Because if you're hanging around people, around people who are also doing business, but they think that earning ₱1 million a month is too hard, I know that you're also gonna have a hard time hitting $1 million a month. And again, I just told you, you have to become the person who is worthy of earning that money. You cannot control when you're gonna get your first million a month. You're not gonna control what are the results, but you can control the habits that you put in. You can control your daily actions. You can control what you're gonna do in a single day. You can control the input in order for you to get the right output. And I hope you are learning from that. Now, in relation with that, there's a saying that tells us if you want to make $1 billion, you need to help 1 billion people. And that brings us to lesson number 2, which is money follows value. And that is why, when you start to do business, start thinking how you can solve big problems. Because the bigger the problems that you solve, the bigger money that you make. If you're just going to solve tiny little problems, of course, you're just gonna make tiny little money. Because businesses are actually built by solving problems. A lot of people, business is all about money. It's not just about money. It's actually solving problems of people, providing solutions to what they need, providing solutions to their problems. And later on, I'm gonna talk about more how we can create a product, how we can create a service that actually people look at your business as high demand. There's a saying that tells us from Alex Hormozi, serve the rich people for it to be able to make more money. Because these rich people, expectedly, and most probably, they have bigger problems compared to those people who has less purchasing power. And later on in this video, I'm also gonna share with you in the next lessons how we can build a high income skill that serves these rich people. And now that you know that, I want you to know to stop chasing money. Stop chasing money, because the more you chase money, the more it flies away from you. I want to give you an example. Just imagine if you're constantly chasing after the butterfly just flies away from you, right? However, if you focus your energy on making the garden so beautiful and making it so healthy, automatically and naturally, the butterflies will just be attracted by your garden. And that is why I want you to focus on creating value. Because again, the money that you make, it's a byproduct of what value you give to people. Focus on the solutions that you give. That is what you offer in the market. I want you to think about these companies practically, okay? I want you to think about Shopee. I want you to think about Canva. I want you to think about Grab. In fact, these companies, they don't have their own products. They actually bridge people in between. People who need transportation, people who need products, people who need marketing assets, graphics, and then they hire people who have transportation that they could provide to their customers. They create this platform to connect with business owners who has products, who can connect with consumers. They use Canva as the app. They work with graphic designers to create templates, marketing assets for marketing, and they can sell to business owners for every subscription. You see what they did here? They saw a problem, they saw people who could provide solutions, and they bridge the gap. And that is why I want to tell you, if you're thinking of starting a business, you don't actually need to build your own product or a service. You just need to know what the problem is, and then provide a solution, find a solution, and you can bridge that gap, and that's where you earn. That's how simple it is. You don't even have to complicate things. Now that you know this, I know that you're having an aha moment. So I want you to stop thinking how to make ₱1 million per month. And then I want to reshift your mind. Start thinking, what problem can I solve that gets me paid $1 million per month? So you see what I did here? Instead of focusing on the money, focus on the solution and the value you give to people, because that's where and how you get paid. Now, with all these things, I want to tell you that nothing actually happens until a sale is made in the business. And that brings us to lesson number 3, which is entrepreneurship is all about sales. Now, Chris, what is sales? Why do we correlate that to entrepreneurship? You know what? A lot of the people, they think when we talk about the word sales, they think about the promo girl, the promo boy that they see on malls, or somebody who is selling a specific product. But I want to tell you that sales is actually not convincing people to buy from you. Sales is fundamentally helping your prospects, helping your customers make the best decision according to what they need. And that is how you position yourself as a solution to their problems. And in order for you to do that, you need to learn, very, very important, communication. Because without communication, you will not be able to present yourself as a solution. You would not be able to present yourself, your products, your services as a solution to their problems. Without communication, you will not be able to understand their needs. And this is very important. You need to understand what they need. You need to envision, okay, what your prospects needs, and you need to solve problems by communicating with the people you're talking to in the business. And that is why I tell you, in my experience, if you learn communication, you will never go broke again. I tell you, that is a guarantee. I 100% assure you. You can sell any product, you can sell any service, you can build any business if you know what communication is all about. Now, I've read a statement. I've learned this from Sabri Subi. It's from the book called Sell Like Crazy. Sabri Subi is telling us, if you own the company, you must be the biggest salesman in your company. If your sales is going down within the company, you should not blame your salespeople, your salesmen. You should be responsible because you're the leader of the company. And that is why, if you own the company, you need to learn communication. And I want to add more to that. You might want to learn this and add this, give more value to your market. And for sure, if you're going to learn this, it will give you a lot of edge over competitors. I want you to learn copywriting and persuasion. Because nowadays, you're going to be using social media, you're going to be using emails, you're going to be using blogs and vlogs, or content like this one, like what we're doing. You're going to need these things for you to be able to put out your message on social media or to your market. And this is how you sell online, building your brand on social media through ads, emails, content, and blogs. And before we move forward to the next lesson, always remember, if you do not learn sales yourself, you will always be dependent on somebody else to bring in money in your business. And you do not want that as a business owner. Lesson number 4, I want to share with you that your first million, okay, your first million does not come from ads. Your first million comes from your network, okay? Who are these people? These people, the network is actually the people that you know. For example, friends, family, colleagues, previous clients, and the people that you know. There's a saying that tells us your network is your net worth. Have you heard of that? Because I've heard of that a lot of times, but those times when I first heard of that, I never understood what that means. And the reason I'm sharing this with you, it's because a lot of people, they think when they start up, they need branding, okay? They need ads. They need a fancy website, which costs them a lot of money when starting out. And this actually puts out money in the bank. If you're starting a business, okay? I want you to think of this. If you're starting a business, always think about money in. How do you put money in your bank? Do not worry about fancy website first. Don't worry about ads. Do not worry about the branding first. Learn on how to sell to people. What you need is you want to create value, okay? Which is you can offer to your market. And this value solves the problem of your market. And you might be saying, I've already talked about this early on. And the reason why I want to reiterate this with you, because a lot of people, they think that if they create something, they sell something, they believe so much in their product and their service. However, they're not getting sales. And the reason for that is they're the only ones who actually want the product. I want to tell you that you are not your own buyer. You're not the only person that buys from your business, from your products, from your services. You need to think what your market needs. Now, how do you actually leverage your network? How do you make your first million from your network? Now, if you have a product, if you have a service, I just told you that is so much important on how you create the value to the market. Now, how do you monetize this? I want you to make sure, okay, make sure you'll be able to provide great results. Because would you agree with me that if you're able to provide great results, you'd be able to attract more people naturally, even if without hard selling your own products, your own services, even without promoting yourself, because people will just talk about what you do. And this has been my experience so far. In fact, this has been all of our experience so far. Napansin mo ba, pumunta ka sa isang coffee shop and you love their product so much to the point wherein you told your friends how good the matcha latte is compared to the first shop that you went to. You see what you're doing? You're actually marketing that business for free. You're actually promoting that business for free, and it is because you loved the results that you got from them. And that is why I want you to focus on providing real results to people, because the more you provide results, the more people would love you, the more people would come back to you, and naturally you're gonna make money even if you don't hard sell yourself. Because a satisfied customer always bring in more customers. And that is why focus on providing great results. As per my experience, and as per a lot of successful entrepreneurs, they always tell you, and they always tell us, when you serve everybody, you're actually serving no one. Lesson number 5 I want to give you is social media is nowadays our free real estate. And I want you to take advantage of this. What do I mean by saying social media is our free real estate? If you're building a business and you're not online, okay, you are going to lose in the market. Because I want to tell you that I've learned something from one of my mentors. They told us, where the attraction is, there the market is. And where the market is, there the money is. I want you to think about this. If you're stuck in traffic, you're on the road. Nowadays, do you usually look at the billboards when you're stuck in traffic? Or are you on your phone, chatting with your friends, scrolling on social media, watching new things on social media? Diba, usually you are on your phone? That means the attention nowadays of the market is already on social media. And that is why wherever the attention is, there we want to market. I hope you're getting this, because this is very, very a lucrative opportunity for you to be able to have. If you're not online, that means you're losing and you do not exist to people. More to that, being online actually builds authority and branding for free in the business. Would you agree with me that the more you actually see a specific brand, the more it becomes familiar to you, and the more you hear from people, even on social media, the more it looks like it has more authority over other brands that are not on social media. And that's why it's very important for you to be able to be around social media, because dyan ka nakikita nowadays. The reason why you want to be on social media, more to that, it's because you want to share case studies. You want to share expertise, most importantly. What are you good at, right? And you want to share testimonials of people who've used your products and your services. And most importantly and very interesting is that social media is not as expensive when you market on TV, on advertisements, on billboards, or even on radios and flyers. Those are the old ways that cost you a lot of money. However, posting content on social media, like what we're doing right now, is a way for it to be able to reach a lot of people. Now, more to that, when I talk about social media, when you're online, you have unlimited. You have unlimited audience. That means you can reach to as many people as possible. Kasi just think of this. If you're marketing your product, your service on billboards, on EDSA, or wherever it is, even if it has a lot of traffic, like a lot of people go through there, your products or your service or your business can only be seen from people who pass through that area. And in fact, even if there are thousands and thousands of people every single day, it will not be compared to posting on social media wherein it has billions of people using that platform. And more to that, later on, if you start to earn money, you start to spend money on ads, you then get to target the people that is actually interested in your products and your services. So again, use social media to showcase, okay, your expertise, testimonials, and case studies. And the reason why I really want to reiterate and stress this out is because just imagine if you're a consumer, you're a customer, you're a client, the only thing that keeps us buying from a certain brand, it's because they know what they're doing. It's proven, it's tested, it's reliable, right? So make sure what you're doing and showcase it to people. And not only that, social media is about consistency. When I say consistency, there's what we call algorithm. When you say algorithm, it's about the user experience of people and the data of social media on how they actually bridge it together based on the interest and behavior of every audience. And that is why the more you post online, the more you post content, social media would love what you're doing. And that is why this is your chance to post with the purpose and intention. And that's what brings us to lesson number 6, which is stop doing everything. This is where I want to tell you that you need to find a profitable niche. When I say finding a profitable niche, this means that you actually find a target market to serve. You don't actually want to serve to everybody. I want to give you an example. If you're selling a glutathione product, you don't want to sell this product to people who don't want to whiten their skin. Are you getting this? If you have a supplement product and it serves people who have arthritis, you don't want to sell this supplement to people who do not have arthritis. You want to make sure that you know your product or your service so well that you know who your target market is. I want to share with you that you don't want to become a generalist. Because would you agree with me that a surgeon gets paid even higher compared to a general doctor? If you're a general doctor, of course you get paid based on the professional fee that you're gonna be treating the patient. However, would you agree with me that if you are a surgeon, because you're a specialist in that specific field, whatever it is, you get paid 10 times, 20 times, or even 50 times compared to the general doctor, because that's the only thing that you do and you're specialized in that specific thing. And that is why it brings us to find a painful problem in your industry. If you know what's something that is in their mind that actually keeps them awake at night and they could not sleep because they have the painful problem, it's your chance to create a product or a service around that solves what they're looking for. I'm going to give you an example. Most real estate agents, they rely on flyering. They rely on word of mouth. They rely on standing on malls waiting for somebody to inquire. Or even, they push to people to inquire about what they offer. And that is why they have problems on generating leads. You can then start offering on how to generate leads for real estate agents. More to that, most business owners, they have low reviews in the business. And that means they have problem in becoming a top choice in the market. You could then offer on how to generate great reviews to every business that helps them become a top choice in the market. You see what I did here? I become very specific in finding a problem and creating a solution for that problem. Now, Alex Hormozi is telling us that the riches is in the niches. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example. I just want you to think about this, that I own a marketing agency, and then I just tell in the market that I only help people who are in the construction industry. And what happens is that if I'm just gonna serve people who are in the construction industry, would you agree with me that my expertise is all about construction, right? And a lot of people, they want to serve a lot of different niches, a lot of different businesses. And because of that, they do not become an expert in one thing. If you're a master in everything, you're an expert at nothing. I would highly suggest if you want to start something, start in targeting a single target market, find your niche, okay? Find the problem, their dream outcome, or what they want to achieve, and the solution as your very offer to them, so that the very goal here is that you're gonna become an expert in that specific niche. The skills that you have today determine on how much money you're gonna make tomorrow. That brings us to lesson number 7, which is you need to learn high income skills. All the people think that in order for them to start a business, they need a capital. In order for them to start a business, they need the right network right away. But you don't actually need a big capital. In fact, you can start a business with no money at all if you just have a single skill that you can offer that can provide results to people or your target market. Please do not think about multiple sources of income. You know what? I want to share with you that when I first started out in the business, I was doing a lot of things. I was selling clothes. I was selling ukay clothes, socks. I was even trying to build a food brand business. You can search it online. It's called Truly Tasty. I also joined multiple network marketing companies. I was selling barley products, coffee products, skincare products, and a lot of other things. And you know what happened? It divided my attention. I even was having a hard time making my first 100,000 pesos because I was doing a lot of things. So the lesson I want to give you here is focus on one thing, okay? Because one of my mentors told me that, Chris, I see your intention. You're trying to make money. You're trying to build something for yourself. However, you're doing the wrong thing. And that wrong thing is you are just distracting yourself. And he told me a story of how billionaires actually build their businesses and have multiple sources of income. And I want to share this with you because this has been the turning point of my life. He told me he asked me, Chris, yung mga bilyonaryo ba, do you think they have multiple sources of income? And then I told my mentor, yes, of course, they have. And I was very confident because I was trying to defend myself because that's what I was doing when I was starting out. I was doing a lot of things. And then the next question he asked me, okay, Chris, if that's the case, when they first started out, did they do a lot of things or did they just do one thing and focus on one thing until they become so good at it? And when they become so good at it, they started to make money, started to hire people and create systems that will do the work for them. And that's when they create another business. When you're starting out, I want to tell you as early as now, focus on one thing. Be so good at it. You don't need a lot of business when you're first starting out. What you need is a skill that you can build as a high income skill that actually provides value in the market and solves problems that people are going to be willing to pay for your service and the results that you give. And that is why never ever trade your time for money, okay? Because the moment you trade your time for money, that's the moment you get stuck. And a lot of people, they think that hard work is the only thing that gives them money. In fact, what makes you the most money is you get paid based on the results that you give. And these results come from the solutions that you provide in the market. You just don't sell random stuff. You just don't sell random product or service. And you can provide this by earning skills that does not need capital. Now, at this point, I want to give you examples what these skills are so that you will have an idea on how to generate money, how to build a business without capital, without money, and you don't have to worry even if you're starting out. Number one, I want to give you sales and persuasion. Sales and persuasion, the reason why I put that number one, it's because every single business needs sales. Every single business needs somebody to communicate so that you would be able to sell their product or service. When you're starting out, if you want to make money, you don't have to create your own product. You don't have to create your own service. If I were to start out, the first thing that I would do, I would find a business that has a very good product and has a very good service. And I would learn communication and I would ask the business that I would sell their product and service and then I will get a commission from every product that I sell. Smart idea, right? Number two, I will give you copywriting. Copywriting, it's part of actually of social media marketing, wherein you write blogs, you write emails, you write posts, you write scripts. Every single thing that helps every single business owner promote their product at the same time saves them a lot of time. Number three, I want to give you social media ads. Social media ads and lead generation. And this is I consider this a high income skill because every single business needs leads. There is no business at all that does not need any lead. There's no business at all that does not need any customers. Every single business needs it. So if you have a skill on how you can generate leads, if you have a skill on how you can generate customers for every single business owners would love to pay you for the results that you give to them. More to that, you can also offer business automations. Okay? Automations and systems. Especially right now that we have AI, especially right now that the internet, the tech world is always improving, you need to adapt. Because just imagine, as of this video, it's 2025, and if you're still doing the things that most people are doing 2018 way, you're gonna get left out in the market. So again, my point here is that master one thing, monetize it, and then learn how to scale it. So I just told you, do not trade your time for money. Always trade the value that you give for the money that you get. And that brings us to lesson number 8, which is focus on one offer that you can sell that allows you to get paid again and again. And because of that, I want to tell you to avoid one-time low ticket offers, which means low ticket products or services. Because your goal here is that you can sell something, you can offer one thing that allows you to get paid again and again. This means you can offer subscription models. That give you recurring revenue. So remember, I told you earlier, what are those businesses? Remember the examples that I've given you? Actually, there are a lot, but those are just examples. Those will allow you to create subscription model business, retainer model business, automation setups that you can just install once to every business, that the system will just generate results for them. And then because you're the one installing it to them, you don't get paid one time. The moment the system always works, month after month, you also get paid again and again, month after month, even if you do the work just once. Now, more to that, you can offer social media marketing, which is a retainer model, or you get paid monthly. You can offer reputation management service, wherein every single great review, you get a commission. Or you can help businesses generate leads or get commissions for every sale that you get for every business. Those are examples that you get paid based on the value that you give, based on the systems that you install to them, and based on the results that you provide for your clients. Now, we do not stop there. If you have a business that depends on you, you don't actually have a business, you have a job. And that's what brings us to lesson number 9, which is build systems that works for you. You don't want to build a business that, yes, kikita ka nga, you're gonna generate money, but it does not generate without you. Because if you're gonna build a business like that, it's like you're a slave to your business. So what's gonna happen is, if you're not able to fix that, if you're not able to hire the right people, if you're not able to create systems for yourself, you're gonna be working endlessly for the rest of your life, and you do not want that. I want to tell you directly, in my experience, it's so hard for you to make ₱1 million a month, at least, if you're doing everything on your own. That is why, start to automate. Automate repetitive tasks. And what's the practicality of this? You can create emails, SMS follow-ups, automated booking calendars, and video sales letters that sells your product or service even if you are sleeping. And if we search on the internet, you find a lot of businesses. It might be product-based, coffee products, supplements, courses, coaching programs, services, aesthetic clinics, real estate agents. They create VSLs or video sales letter that the video sells for them even if they don't talk to a single audience or a single customer time and time again. And that's where automation comes in. Now, what are the other ways? Learn to delegate. Learn to delegate by hiring VAs or freelancers. This will allow you to focus on the things that truly matter in your business, which is making money. Those things, posting content on social media, writing blogs, writing emails, delegate these things, hire your own VA, because if you're just gonna pay somebody to do those repetitive tasks for you, you will have a lot of time for you to be able to create the most opportunity and making money in your business. Now that you know this, I wanna tell you that your pricing actually determines how you position yourself in the market. And that's what brings us to lesson number 10, which is charge premium or stay broke. A lot of people, when they start a business, they always think that the best way for them to be able to sell their products, their services, is to charge it so low so that everybody could afford or everybody could buy from them. In fact, they are very afraid of charging a little bit higher or a little bit more expensive kasi yung labanan nila sa market is pababaan ng presyo. I don't know if you've experienced this, but I personally experienced this because when I was starting out, I was so afraid to charge a little bit higher compared to my competitors because I'm afraid of customers not buying from me. But I want to tell you, based on my experience, the more you charge low ticket, people also perceive your product and your service as low value, and because of that, you will not be able to serve high quality clients. And that is why I want to point out that if you charge low, you're also going to be perceived as low value in the market, which brings you in the business low quality customers. And that is why I've been telling you early on, from the very get-go, you need to be very sure what you're offering the market. In fact, you need to be very sure the results that you provide in the market. Because if you are very sure on the results that you provide to your customers, you become so confident that you know how you can help them. And because of that, you know the value of what you're offering. And because of that, you'd be able to attract high quality clients. Based on my experience, cheap clients always drain energy. Premium clients who pay more in your business complain less compared to those low quality clients. Because they understand, in order for them to make more money, they need to spend money for them to get the results that they want. And if you compete based on price, you become a commodity in the market. If you compete based on value that you give and the results that you give, you become a brand in the market. And that what brings us to lesson number 11, which is never compete on price. I want you to think of this. How does Apple sell their expensive iPhones, MacBooks, iPads, AirPods? It's because they built a brand and then they position their value, which gives amazing experience to their customers. The only way for you to do this is show the worth of your product and your service in the business and not show why you're the cheapest in the market. So Chris, how do we actually apply this practically? Remember, I talked about case studies, testimonials. I talked about the uniqueness of your products because this is what you want to show, their experience. The testimonials, the people who have used your products, case studies, what are the changes that you've given to your customers? And what are the unique processes that you actually prepared for them to have a different experience compared if they buy from your competitors? Because at the end of the day, I want to tell you that people are actually looking for real results. If you cannot provide results in the market, there's no way people are going to buy from you. Now, you want to know what's the fastest way to succeed? Because in my experience, the fastest way to succeed is to learn from somebody who already has done it. And that brings us to lesson number 12, which is to invest in mentorship and learning. You know what? Poor people, they always wait for their salary. And after they get their salary, they just spend it on bills. pambayad ng bills, and then bayad ng utang. And then after babayad ng utang, they wait for the salary, utang ulit, and bayad ng utang ulit. It's just a cycle wherein they're putting themselves in a single trap where it goes again and again. However, average people, they make money, they reinvest it to the business so that the business can help them make more money. How about the rich and wealthy people? Rich and wealthy people, they invest in themselves because they know that they're the leader of the company, they're the leader of that team. If they invest in themselves, they know what money to put in the business, and then they can help the business itself to make more money for them. And that is why, in my experience, I always listen to people who already have results or living the life that I want to live. I'm not saying that you need to invest hundreds of thousands. I'm not saying you need to invest right away millions of pesos. If you have the chance, go for it. However, you can start with courses, networking events, where you meet high-level quality of people, mentorship programs, and books. Because I want to tell you that every successful entrepreneur that you look up to, or every successful person that you've met in your life, they always have a mentor. And that mentor of them are those people who are already living the life that they wanted to live. Now, talking about investments, I just told you that poor people focus on spending money, while rich people and wealthy people focus on investing their money. So, I just told you poor people spend on money, and rich and wealthy people focus on investing their money to make more money. And that's what brings us to lesson number 13, which is have an investor mindset and not just a business owner. Because every single peso that you spend in your business or in your daily life, it's either you can make more money with that or buy back your time. And that's what's the most important thing as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, so that you can use your time to make more money. I want to share with you a story. One of my friends, sabi ko sa kanya, bro, ang dami niyo namang helper. You have 7 helpers in your house, and yung house nila is like 3 floors only. And sabi niya, yung isang helper niya naglalaba, yung isa nagkukook, yung isa naman nagplaplansya ng damit, and all those things. Each and every helper niya is meron silang specific tasks, and I computed how much do you spend, no? And he's spending like 60,000-70,000 for totality per month to operate and to hire those helpers to help him. And sabi ko sa kanya, that's a lot of money every single month just for helpers. And you know what he told me, bro, if I could have a lot more time to focus on what truly matters in their business, which is helping my company grow and making more money, 70,000 is nothing because I will have more time in myself and in my company to make more money. And that's how an investor thinks, not just a business owner. Sometimes we get blinded. Sometimes we think we need to save money because, you know, it's a hard-earned money, and I understand that. However, when I understood that story from my friend of mine, I then thought to myself, that's how he became so rich that he uses money to buy back his time. And more to that, I also want you to think this way. I want you to learn how to reinvest, okay? Reinvest your profits into systems, marketing, and the people. You know what? These things, systems, marketing, and people, these are actually make you more money in the business. It is because systems, like what I told you, it saves you a lot of time, right? People naman, these are the ones that actually help you operate in the business. And then marketing, this is what brings in money in the business. If there's no marketing, there is no customers. There are no customers in the business. That means no sales. That means you're not gonna make money. If there are no systems, your operations as a business is not organized. If there are no people, you're gonna be doing everything on your own. Which means you need to reinvest in your profits to these things in order for you to able to actually grow your company. Now, before we actually wrap up, I want to tell you that failure is actually your tuition for success. If you're somebody who is afraid of failure, you should not be in the business. Because In my experience, and in our experience, in every successful entrepreneur, failure is the mother of all successes. And that brings us to lesson number 14, which is I want you to be ready for failure. A lot of people, they're so afraid of failure. They have fears about failure because they're afraid to be judged. They are afraid what people will be thinking about them. And they are afraid that they will not be able to get the things that they want. And they are very afraid to be judged by the people around them. However, in reality, this is part of the process. No failure, no mistakes, no learnings, and no success. If you're watching this video right now, I tell you that you will make mistakes in the process. You cannot get away from this because there's no such person who is perfect and doing everything. There's a saying that tells us that you don't have to be great to start. You just have to start until you become great. That means along the way, you're gonna lose relationships. Along the way, you're gonna lose money. Along the way, you're gonna lose trust. Along the way, you're gonna learn so much things that will make you stronger later down the line, which means you can use that in your advantage to know how to run a real company. And that is normal. That is the beauty of mistakes. Now, what matters most here, when I say ready for failure, you need to learn and adapt fast. Because time is the only thing that you have in order for you to be able to get things done. Now, just imagine if you have experiences that allows you to fail, if you have experiences that allows you to commit mistakes, and you're not able to learn it right away, you're not able to adapt fast from your experience. It's like you're wasting time. However, if you fail fast, you make mistakes fast, that means you learn fast. And when you learn fast, that means you'll be able to succeed faster. And that is why, as an entrepreneur, you need to embrace mistakes, failures, and turn them into something great, which is your power in building what you want. Now, at this time of this video, I know that you've gotten a lot of ideas already. However, I want to tell you that ideas are actually worthless without execution. Which brings us to lesson number 15, which is I want you to take massive action. Do not overthink, because this is very, very important. A lot of people, they keep on watching on videos, on content like this one. They keep on buying courses. They keep on watching trainings. They keep on attending programs that they think that it would help them a lot. However, they become so knowledgeable, and because of that, they get blinded. They think that they are actually producing something. They think that they're productive. However, they're just wasting their time by gaining knowledge and not implementing it. Because I want to tell you that knowledge, this is your potential power. However, execution is where you get the knowledge done. It's where you materialize your vision. And that is why this is the actual power. I want you to assess yourself. Where are you right now? Have you actually executed what you've learned from the book you've just read? Have you actually executed what you just learned from the content that you've watched earlier, or from the video that you've seen yesterday, or from the mentorship program that you've attended last week, last month, or even last year? Maybe that just remained as a knowledge in your mind, in your brain. I want to let it out by taking action. There's no other way. You can't just hope things to happen. Success just don't fall from the sky and land on your lap. You need to take massive action. Because in my experience, if you want to make $1 million a month, it's actually not that hard. If you truly find the right information, the right strategy, and the people who could guide you, and you implement those things, boom, you start to get it. If you're in the business, you're not making at least $1 million, it should be a reminder to you why you are slacking off and why you're not yet taking that much action in the business. And when I say taking action, it's not just about hard work. It's about the things that you know, the information that you have, the strategies that you have on your table, and the right environment that you have that could help you achieve it. And that is why, as an entrepreneur, being an overthinker should never be an attitude. Alright, so now you exactly know how to build a 1 million per month business. But if you want me to show you exactly step by step, move by move, the exact business model that I personally use to help me generate over 7 figures a month, check me out on social media. Or somewhere around this video, you might see a link to a free training. If it's still available, go ahead. Go ahead, click that link and get access while it's still open. Because here's the thing. Success always loves speed. People who take action right away. The people who take action now will be the ones who will be ahead 6 months from now. So just don't watch this video and learn in knowledge. Go ahead and start applying. Apply what you learned, check out the free training, and I'll see you inside. Once again, this is Chris Tew. I'm rooting for your success, and I want you to make this year where you start making millions in your bank. See you in the next video.